Carolyn Dube here. What's the play for today? Well, today I'm playing with something that Leslie Riley sent to me. These are reverse alphabet stamps. Now these are rubber stamps that are on pegs, or sticks, rods, whatever you want to call these things, and that way you can snap them together to build the words that you want. But they're reversed. What's the benefit of having something reversed? If you're stamping right on paper, not a whole lot, because it's just going to be backwards. But if you're stamping on something like the Gelli plate, where when you put letters and words down on the Gelli plate to start with, they need to be backwards so that when you take the print up, they're facing the correct way or they're legible. If you've done this with stencils, you know that when you put a stencil down, it has to go on what looks like backwards when you put it on the Gelli plate so that the prints that you take end up creating letters that you can read or words that you can read. Same is true of rubber stamps. Most stamps don't work this way, but hers does. Come take a look and see how I used it. So here are the reverse alphabet stamps. Now with these, by the name reverse, you're going to expect something to be backwards or reversed, and that's what they are. If you look at the letters on top, they're the reverse of what you usually see. Now each of these little sticks or rods comes apart and then you can reassemble them to make whatever you want. Like here's the word play, but which way's the right way? It's hard for me when I look at the letters, but when I look at the rubber, it actually lines up perfectly. So for using these, you actually look at the rubber so that you can see what they're going to read like. So let's say you want to spell a word with this. You pick the letters that you want and then you start snapping them together. You can do them in rows or you can just do them as one single row. All the little places that you snap it together keeps everything facing the same way so that you can't make a mistake with it. I am not a powerhouse speller, so rather than actually try and spell words, I'm going to create a design element with the letters in sort of this block of text. Now this is reverse, so that makes it absolutely great for the Gelli plate. So I'm going to use some paint and just brayer it onto my Gelli plate. I don't want to put the paint on very thick, so you're going to want a thinner application of paint if you want your stamped letters to show up. Now I could stamp this on here just once, but I'm kind of a more is better type person, so I'm just going to stamp it all over the place. Now you might have figured out I'm not trying to line anything up here at all. This is just randomly placing it around. Some of this may not be perfectly straight, but that's going to be a-okay with me because it's a random pattern of text. So I'm going to take the back of this paper and you could stamp off the stamp, but as you'll see, it's reversed when you use it just as a rubber stamp. It needs to be used with something else. By the way, that is a paper towel soaked in water. That way I can just set the stamps on there. That way cleaning them up will be a breeze when I'm done. So I'm going to take the first print here, and my first print when using the Gelli plate always has more paint to it. So you can see little bits of the orange that I'd had from another project peeking through on there. Even though it looks like there isn't much paint on there, there's still enough to get the second print or the ghost print. Now as I take this print, what I'm going to see is even more of the design and pattern, creating this great grungy, vintaged, scratched up, weathered, whatever you want to call it, kind of look to it. And one of the things that I haven't done yet is clean off my brayer, so I am just going to take the bottom of that piece of paper and clean off my brayer. That way not a drop of paint is ever wasted. Now cleanup for these, because I put it on that wet paper towel, all I'm going to do is lift it up, and a lot of times I can just wipe off any paint that's on there, but if there's a bunch in there or I feel like it's kind of stuck in, or sometimes I let it dry out a little too much before I put it on there, just hitting it with an old toothbrush, which by the way, once you've used a toothbrush for something like paint, you really don't want to ever use it again for something like brushing your teeth, but that's kind of common sense. Thanks for joining me for today's play. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll never miss when I have a new video coming out. Thanks for being a part of this colorful journey.